What's up, everyone? Just wanted to touch on a couple things real quick. Got a ton of feedback from last week's episode, mostly about two of the 12 inches we talked, one being the Abrasion 12-inch, the other being the High Vis 12-inch. The Abrasion 12-inch is available still, I believe. They just do it a limited run, but it's at indecisionrecords.com. And then the High Vis, there is a U.S. distro, Wanna Hear It Records, out of Massachusetts. Shout out Joey6131. He is distroing it, so go to wannahearitstore.com, and they got it there, so you won't have to pay the international shipping if you live in the U.S. Lastly, we got a question wrong on last week's trivia, so it whiffed past me and Ben. We both blew it. More me than Ben, so don't get at me, Ben. But the Clevo style on Instagram said that we messed up the first question about Confront. And he said that Chubby Fresh was not the drummer, and it was Jay Kublar. He was the drummer. So, respect. Thanks for setting us straight, dude. And, let's get on with the show. 185milessouth.com.
Smash that Patreon button.
185 Miles South, a hardcore punk rock podcast. What's up, everyone? This week on the pod, we are coming to you from a Connecticut address. We're talking Rev 1 to 10. Helping out, you know him, you love him. It is the best dressed man on the pod. It is Daniel Sant. What's up, Dan?
Alex!
Yeah. Also helping out, it is Ben Merlis, a.k.a. Ben Edge, a.k.a. Bedge. What's up, Ben?
What's going on?
Yeah, and so basically we're doing this because, where it went took January off. And we know everyone needs their Revelation Records hardcore fix. So we're stepping in. And, Dan, you want to let the people know why, where it went? If you want to listen, first off, if you don't listen to that podcast, you should. We all love it. I'm a Patreon, but they took January off. And what's the reason, Dan?
Because the best Swedish hardcore frontman ever, Jason Mazzola, had a baby. So bid it bow to Ramona Jane Mazzola.
Yeah, man. Also, bid it bow to the pullout method and everyone that holds it down.
Jesus Christ.
And the rhythm method.
Yeah, and Planned Parenthood. And, make your own personal decisions. But shout out Jason. Congratulations. And we'll step in and talk some hardcore. Was that too much, Ben? Sorry.
Hey, man, it's all good in the hood for me. It's funny as shit, but I hope they take it that way too.
It's awesome for Jason. I'm super psyched for him. He's one of the funniest people ever, so that kid is going to have such a great life.
Ben, what kind of birth control do you practice?
Abstinence.
The pill.
That's right. Shout out long-term relationships and the pill.
Something we should talk about is Where It Went is. It's actually a podcast about the Revelation Records catalog where each episode they go in sequential order by catalog number, and they're up to 50. They stopped at 50 and they took their break at 50. So that's an easy number to remember. So they did 1 through 10, probably mid 2020 is when they started the podcast. So yeah, somewhere in the summer of 2020, they covered what we're going to talk about now really quickly.
And where our very own Bedge has guested on their pod a few times.
Yeah, I'm on the Whirlpool self-titled LP episode and the Far Side self-titled 7-inch episode, and I'm on one of the Patreons. They did one about Jawbreaker Dear You.
Yeah, dude. And Javier and Greg helped us out on a Patreon. After we did our Super 7 on Revelation Records, they came in and judged us. So that was pretty fun. Check that out on the Archives Patreons. And let's get into it.
I think they jugged you.
Ah, that's right. That's right.
You know, these are the Rev jokes that we're here for tonight.
Just one! Gotta go!
All right, we're doing One's Gotta Go on Rev 1 through 4. So, Rev number 1 is Warzone, the Lower East Side Crew 7-inch. Rev number 2 is the Together 7-inch compilation. Revelation Records 3, the Sick of It All 7-inch. And Revelation Records 4, the Gorilla Biscuit 7-inch. Good God, One's Gotta Go. What the fuck? Ben, how you going on this one?
Well, to me, these 4 records fall into 3 tiers, which is God tier, Gorilla Biscuit 7-inch, mid tier, Together comp, and Sick of It All 7-inch. Although there are God tier songs on the Together comp, so that's kind of a mixed bag. And then at the very bottom, the Warzone Lower East Side Crew EP. And the reason I put it at the very bottom is the production quality is so bad, it's worse than all the current bands that are trying to make themselves sound bad like 80s hardcore bands. It's even worse than all those records. And if it were produced a little bit better, I think Sick of It All would be the one that would have to go for me, because in general, I'm more of a Warzone fan than a Sick of It All fan.
Let's jump into the production on Warzone Lower East Side Crew, because we haven't been able to get a good answer. I sent out some feelers today last minute. We didn't get any facts like back, but I think that you're discounting the production on this a little bit, Ben. Side A sounds fucking great, in my opinion, like in headphones, right? Because it's pretty lo-fi if you're listening like on your computer or whatever, but with headphones, like the bass tone is ill. And the guitars sound nice and fuzzy. It sounds good. Side A sounds good, I should say. Side B is a little wonky, right? Like, it sounds like We're the Crew is live. Under 18 just sounds like garbage. And I'm not sure what's up with the songs before that. Like, so I don't know if maybe side B is like a live recording and maybe like the microphones got bumped after like a song. Cause Take a Stand sounds not as bright as side A, but it doesn't sound terrible, and then it kind of falls off. So, Dan, what was your take listening to that part?
Same. I forgot how terrible Under 18 sounds. I listened to it again a few times today, and Jesus Christ, that sucks. And it's not even a good song either. But side A sounds... when Ben was trashing it on our little group text, I was like, you've got to listen to side A because it doesn't sound as bad as you are representing right now. It sounds really good. I
agree. And that's kind of like the general consensus on this is like, look, it's cool this record came out. It's Rev 1 and Warzone does better stuff later, right? But like, listen to this again today. Side A fucking rips. And these songs are great. I mean, Always a Friend for Life, classic Warzone song, right? And then that bass intro on the Will You Ever Come Back, it sounds so fuzzy and gnarly and cool. I absolutely love this. But Ben, let's jump back to your take.
I listened to it again today. I've listened to this the least, this and the Together comp, because they never were reissued on vinyl and they never were officially released on CD. And I think Jordan said something about wanting to finally reissue them, at least on vinyl. So I've only ever heard them, I guess through the internet or through bootlegs, but Will You Ever Come Back? Very good song. I don't even remember that one. That's a really good one. This whole thing was re-recorded in the 90s and put out on Victory, which is re-recordings of records by the band themselves. Even if the quality is improved tenfold, it's just, there's always something lost. There's always a magic that's just gone. It's just it never pays off.
Absolutely.
Creatively. Yeah. But the Together comp, the interesting thing is, so what they did is, then this is 87. The next year, 88, they do the LP compilation, which is the way New York City hardcore, the way it is. And a lot of these songs, either the same recordings get put on that record, or the songs are re-recorded, or the band just switches just does a different song. So this is interesting. You kind of need to have it in order to have everything, because side by side, Violence to Fade, even if you get that side by side LP CD reissue from the whenever it was, early 2000s, the one that's like the discography, it's missing this version of Violence to Fade. It has the demo version, but it doesn't have this one. And I got into side by side from the Lost and Found bootleg early 90s CD that with the ugly, whatever colors. It's like the
Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, Golden State Warriors colors. And that CD starts with the Together version of Violence to Fade. And I've always been like, damn, this shit hits so hard. And like, I miss it almost because I never break out my Lost and Found CD, and I don't own this this very expensive 7-inch. God damn, one for sale for $1,000. But both
median. Ben, let me jump in. Sorry, median price $444. Good God.
Yeah.
Of the songs that I think are the same recording, I think Warzone as One is the same recording. I think Gorilla Biscuits Better Than You is the same recording. Youth of Today Together is the same recording. And the Super Touch Searching for the Light, I think, are all the same recording on this 7-inch as well as the LP.
I don't think Super Touch or Youth of Today are the same recording, but someone, out there in internet land that listens to this episode can correct me, and I will defer to you, but I think those are Searching for the Light and Together are were re-recorded for the LP. That's what I'm getting. And then Sick of It All and Bold just did different songs and side by side.
Yes. Yeah. And then the Sick of It All song, it doesn't come out on the 7-inch, and it doesn't come out on the LP. It comes out on their first LP. And then same with Bold. Talk is Cheap comes out on their first LP.
And that's a re-recording too. The Talk is Cheap.
Correct. Yes, but of course. Like the Sick of It All LP, Sick of It All first LP and the Bold first LP, they're going in and doing a whole session for it.
But if you get that Bold Search 85 to 89 discography on Rev, it does have the Together version of Talk is Cheap as well on it. So there is another way to get that track. Anyway, you can't, if you deleted this from your, if this would be the one that's got to go, you'd be losing some of these songs. You'd be losing specific versions of some of these songs because at least alternate versions show up on other records. And right. Gorilla Biscuits, no, not touching that. No way. Come on. Classic.
Yeah. So what's your take, dude? You're losing Warzone.
Losing Warzone.
All right. Dan, what's your take?
I'm not losing Sick of It All, and I'm not losing Gorilla Biscuits. I think as debut statements from each of these bands, these are amazing first efforts, Both are incredible. Yes, a lot of the Sick of It All 7-inch is done even better on the LP. And the same could technically be said for like the Together comp Ben just went over. Like a lot of it does show up elsewhere, but this recording of My Life with the super reverb laugh at the end and the Violence to Fade, you don't get this version elsewhere. Now let's go to the Warzone 7-inch. For me, as you well know from like lots of our discussions and stuff, I view especially 7-inches even more than I do LPs. I view the whole thing, like the artwork, the way it's laid out with the whatever the little inserts are and all of that goes into this just as much as something else. And you know what? The Together comp and the Warzone 7-inch are just so coolly laid out. Like just look at that front cover of the Warzone 7-inch. It's so ill. The logo with the writing with the little white outlines around it. Absolutely sick. Todd Youth looking so ill. Rabies with the big lion tattoo on his arm. I mean, it just looks amazing. And then it just has the Lower East Side Crew at the bottom with the EP like all off skewed to the very right. It's hardcore, it's absolute hardcore. And then the Together comp, I love the dots, the way it looks. I mean, it just, oh God, it looks so good. I don't want to lose either of these, They're
stars. They're not dots. This is the first.
Yeah,
the beginning of
that's right.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
And there's no stars on the Warzone. So this is the beginning of the Rev logo star is actually this star pattern on the Together comp, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and the B-side label has a star on it as well. I love the CB's matinee like picture on the back, and you can buy that book that has like tons of the matinee like kids hanging out pictures as well. Which I have that book. I can't remember what it's called, but it's so fucking cool. I love this version of Talk is Cheap. It sounds so good.
There's like way more F words.
What's that?
They add a bunch more F words. He says fuck.
Oh yeah, and also it's just cheap over the top. Like going over the backups. Like he is super good, like elongating those like Kermit yells. And the only thing that sucks is like you get a lot of this on the way it is a year later, right? And the Super Touch re-recording is so much better. Like Super Touch sound awful on this, where they sound really good on the way it is. See, I don't know if I'm going to be realistic. The Sick of It All, My Life, and the Violence to Fade, if you were, a deep cutter and had like an even better collection than any of us do, you may have the demos of either of these, right? So is it okay to have them as demo versions and then get rid of this because you don't want to get rid of Warzone because it's Rev 1 and it's so cool and it's the start of an era and it's fucking Warzone? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of the comp. I'm going to get rid of Together. I'm going to keep Warzone. And I'm going to cry for this choice later. But I'm doing that just because the majority of this is grabbable in many other places. So, but the Warzone stuff isn't. Even though, you say it's re-recorded. But, I mean, Motown artists did that constantly to try and get, more royalties on re-recordings of like their classic material and stuff, but no one wants to hear it. It sounds like shit. Like you want the original stuff and that's it. So I'm keeping the Warzone 7-inch and I'm getting rid of it Together.
I'm doing the same thing. You can't cut the Gorilla Biscuit 7-inch, obviously. Can't cut the Sick of It All. It's like one of the most palatable, awesome hardcore 7-inches ever. I can't lose the Warzone. That side A is too good. Always a Friend for Life is a classic Warzone song, and the Will You Ever Come Back is so good. Also, it's Rev 1, and so if you think about what this is, this comes out after Warzone breaks up. The popularity of the 7-inch gets them back together, and then we get Don't Forget the Struggle, Don't Forget the Streets. You lose the 7-inch. If it doesn't exist, maybe we never get that LP. So that's insane. Point. So I'm losing the comp. As One, Warzone gets re-recorded on the LP. It comes out the next year. Better Than You, or I think it's the same recording, but Better Than You, again, is on the comp the next year. Bold Talk Is Cheap. I prefer the LP version. Youth of the Day Together. This sounds like the same as on the comp, but it doesn't matter. I love this song. We'll talk about it when we talk the comp. Sick of It All My Life. It comes out on their first LP, Blessed One No Tears. This side-by-side song is a ripper. and this version is so good. So it hurts to lose this. Super Touch, Searching for the Light. I think you're right. It is a different recording for the LP. And it comes out on the LP the next year. So that's what's up. This is not a hard 7-inch to lose for me. This is a no-brainer. I'm losing it. I'm keeping the other 3, and that's what's up.
Side A versus Side B.
All right, we're doing Side A versus Side B on New York City Hardcore, The Way It Is, Revelation Records compilation from the year 1988. We alluded to it a bunch on the previous segment, but here we are. And Side A, Side B, what's better, Dan? Actually, you know what? First off, I was looking to see what version I had. I got the 92 repress. Which one do you have?
I have first press that I bought from Todd Tyler at the Che Cafe.
How about that?
Yeah.
All right, Side A, Side B.
You want me to go first?
Yes, please.
All right. Well, this is torturous because you've got Wise Up, might be one of the best Bold. Well, it is one of the best Bold songs. It might be the best Bold song. I love the way it comes in. I love the recording because it is slightly amateurish but amazing. Then you've got Nausea. This has got like a total like DB before it was trendified, obviously, like punk as fuck vibe. Then you've got maybe one of the best Unity songs ever, As One, Warzone. Amazing. I mean, everyone knows that song off the top of their head. They could sing all the lyrics right now. Escape from Your Society has arguably one of the fucking greatest skit style intros. I mean, it's only beaten by by the Warzone women skit in hardcore. This is the second best one. It's from the same band. I can't take it no more. I'm bugging out. GB, Better Than You. This is not top tier Gorilla Biscuits for me.
You're out of your mind. This is like, for early Gorilla Biscuits, I like this song better than anything on the 7-inch.
No way. Not for me.
It's like such subtle melody, but it's not all the way melodic, and then it's so fucking YOLO. It's like, how do they get like so much YOLO and so much like subtle melody together in the song? This is like one of the greatest songs of all time.
Well, I mean, when I say it's not the best GB, that's putting it up against, that's like putting, I don't know, 18 Carat Gold against 24 Carat Gold, right?
Right, right. It's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, yeah. And then Forgotten, they're giving you the preview to what's to come, and then Trip 6. This used to be a skipper for me back in the day, and not anymore. I dig it. And I love that the singer's name is Packrat. Breakdown Sick People. This is the song that launched a million moshing ships, This is, we've talked about this on the pod in the past, that this is ground zero for lots of harder hardcore to come, Then you flip the record and you start off with Together by Youth of Today. I mean, unbelievable song. Sounds amazing. And then Understand. You've got, and this lineup is so cool because it's only appearing like here, right? So you've got Walter, Mike Judge, Porcel, and Raghunath Das on Vox. And they're ripping. It doesn't have the slickness that will come on We're Not in This Alone, and it doesn't have the fish taco stylings of Pesky Pesci on the drum.
Can we talk these two songs before you move on, Dan?
Yeah, let's please.
Okay. Is Mike Judge the worst Youth of Today drummer? Because he's playing a lot slower than everyone else. And listening to this again today, I was like, fuck. I started thinking about it. It's like if he played on the whole Break Down the Walls tour, were all the songs slower? when they played. Like, can he play fast? Like, his Understand is totally slowed down. Together seems like it's like intentionally, like that's the tempo they're going for. And it's weird. There's no other Youth Today song this tempo. It's like that slow fast, like kind of like the Integrity fast beat. You know, and it sounds so rad here. It's so like triumphant. It might be the most like triumphant, you know, Youth Today song. Like Rave Today, like jacked Rick to life for his horse and was like riding the battle, you know? But like, I don't know. That one seems intentional. Understand seems like Mike can't keep up.
Well, I think together you would call it a 3/4 tempo banger. But yeah, Understand, obviously other versions of it are so much more, I don't know, they hit harder, you know. But Youth of Today can't help but shine even amongst amazing brethren, you know?
Oh, of course. Like, these songs are great. Ben, can you jump in on these two songs before we have Dan go to Sick of It All?
Yeah, I mean, Understand gets re-recorded for We're Not in This Alone, and that lineup has Sammy on drums, but everyone else is the same. Yes, Walter on bass for both. Together, this is the only version, well, depending on whether or not the Rev 7-inch comp is the same version. God, now I wish we could just press pause and listen to them back to back so we could settle it. But Together, great song, and this is where you get it, because it's not on any of their other records. I never got that vibe that Mike was playing too slow. It just doesn't jump out at me. The drums don't jump out as being particularly good or bad.
But if you think about in the context of all the other recordings, like Understand here is like that Youth of the Day fast beat that we've already heard on Break Down the Walls. And we hear again on We're Not in This Alone. And here's a fast song that's not as fast.
Yeah,
it's dragging, dude.
Think about this, Zach. You're only thinking it's dragging because you know how insane it is on We're Not in This Alone. So imagine this is what it was kind of written as. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the groove they were going with at this time. But then when it gets handed over to Sammy, it's like, bah, bah, bah. You know, it's like so just everything is perfect on the
I'd buy that if it wasn't sandwiched between those two LPs. And like, here you have it. You wouldn't, like, Together seems intentionally that tempo. Like, it's not dragging. It's like the way it's supposed to be. Like, the pulse is there. And Understand, just, it doesn't sound raging. Like Youth of the Day, like even their 7-inch, the first LP, second LP, like, or the final 7-inch, like all those rip. And like this Understand version is just not ripping. Anyway, that's okay. 2-1, no big deal. Zach's usually wrong. And Dan, Sick of It All Politics, killer track.
Yeah, it's a good track. It's not their best, you know, more of that 18 Carat Gold. Pete's Sake, that's so good. What are your guys' opinions on Crackdown?
I'm a fan.
Love it.
Yeah.
It sounds like again, like maybe this is Zach like critical of Drummer's Day, but again, it sounds like the drummer is not really keeping up, but it also like gives the song so much character that it's really cool because the guitars are doing some fancy things there on the verse, you know, and the drums is like, fuck it, let's just pound.
Yeah. It's super good, and it used to be one, you know, when I was like 16 listening to this, that I was like, let me get to Side by Side, you know, and it, especially because I first had this as a CD before I even had it on vinyl, you know, so it's a lot easier to skip on a CD.
I have a good crackdown story that when I was in ninth grade, I went to Hamilton High Academy of Music, and I was in the jazz band C. They had an A band, a B band, and a C band. So C is the least good. And this is the same system that Kamasi Washington comes out of. He's 2 years younger than me. So this is like a really, you know, there's some heavy hitting musicians that came out of this school. And the other bass player in the jazz C band would always give me a hard time for playing with a pick, as would the instructor, because you're supposed to play with your fingers for jazz music. And I'm a punk rocker and I play with a pick. And he goes, punk stupid. And the guy didn't know what punk was. And he goes, show me play a punk song. And I played him Ignorance by Crackdown. Cause it's great. It's a great song for bass. It's really good. It's really cool. And the other cool thing about this song is, it talks about, racial violence. And he says, Howard Beach, it's not the first time violence happens on both sides. And Howard Beach, was what happened there. That was in Queens in 1986. A black guy was, murdered. He was beaten to death. Actually, he was beaten with another black guy by white dudes. And then he ran for his life onto a highway where he was struck by a car and killed. And, a lot of these racial attacks were happening in New York in the 80s. And some of them, I think even including this one, are mentioned in the book I wrote. And this is the first time I had heard of it because I guess I wasn't paying that close attention to the news when I was 8 years old in 1986.
Plug the book, Ben.
That's it. Going off the story of the Juice Crew and Cold Chillin' Records.
Yeah, man. You got to slide that in every episode, dude. What the fuck?
Haha.
All right, Dan, take it to Side by Side. These songs rip.
All right. Now we're going to the 98 Carat Gold, 2 songs on the comp. Dead serious. That bass line to just start it out sounds like it's like bubbling over. You know, when you're boiling a pot of water or something, it's like just coming over. Oh my God. And it just unleashes the fucking greatest song. And then the, this is still basic, great, amazing New York hardcore, but the beginning of The Time Is Now has that like mysterious, like almost the same thing that kind of happens on Biscuit Power a little bit, you know, like a shh, and then it just, the lead on the guitar, like it's so good. And these vocals are unbelievable. All right, moving on to Youth Defense League.
Ben's favorite song.
Yes, because he's part of the working class of the USA, and it's about time. If this band wasn't absolutely made up of morons, the song is basic and dumb, but it's kind of cool. But when you know the story of what they're all about and, you know, Voice of Brooklyn and all of that shit, like, see ya. It wouldn't want to be you. So, but then the record ends with Searching for the Light, Super Touch, and, you know, it's a re-recording of what you previously heard on the Together comp. And God, this song is so fucking good.
And how does it begin?
So good.
How does it begin?
You do it.
Yo! And I'm looking at the credits. Backing vocals by Bold. That's it. Just Bold. Pretty rad.
Yeah. It's the band that is reaching for something a little bit further than just the straight up hardcore, but still being very hardcore. And, you know, it became almost a verb for what bands were doing when they would like expand the sound, like, oh, they're doing the Super Touch, you know? But I love it. I absolutely love it. I love that song. I love their basketball t-shirts. I love everything about this era of Super Touch. Now, I am going to have to pick a side now. Sick People is on side A. As One is on side A. I Can't Take It No More, I'm Bugging Out is on side A. Wise Up is on side A. Forgotten is on side A. These are all amazing standouts. Side B, it's got both YOT, it's got Sick of It All, and more importantly, it has the 2 side-by-side bangers and the Super Touch. I'm going side B.
Side B bangs. Searching for the Light. Perfect closing song.
Yeah.
Right. Side by Side, The Time Is Now. My favorite side by side song. It gets me every time. Sing of It All, Pete's Sake is like the perfect generic 80s hardcore song.
Yeah.
You know, like a raging verse and then like kind of an anthemic chorus or just breakdown part. Like it's so perfect for what it is. And it just is from that era. It can't be replicated. And then Youth of the Day Together. I love this song so much. But side A, kicking it off with Wise Up. You know, they re-recorded on the LP, so I guess it doesn't need to be there. Not so crucial. Same with Warzone as one. Gets re-recorded on their LP. Oh, GB Better Than You. I already vouched for it. Love it, love it. Breakdown Sick People, one of the greatest songs ever, and this recording is better than the demo recording. It sounds so good, so clean, so gnarly with like the double kick and stuff. And yeah, I'm going side A for the Nausea whammy bar. Shout out Ben.
Ha. All right, I guess it's my turn.
Nausea, don't get at me.
I'm not going to get at you. I think that both are correct.
I think, yeah, definitely both are correct. Nausea is perfectly fine.
So, damn, well, first of all, this was my introduction to every band except Youth of Today. I already had Break Down the Walls. This is the second thing on Rev I ever got. Break Down the Walls on cassette was the first. This on cassette was the second. Fuck, I love Super Touch. That Youth Defense League song, even if they weren't Nazis, it would still be the worst song on the album. But I'll say, I didn't press fast forward on my Walkman. I would listen to every song on this album. So none of them were skippers, as Hav would say on the Where It Went podcast. And I already sang the praises of Crackdown Ignorance. But, God, side A, you've got the superior version of Wise Up by Bold. You've got As One, Warzone, come on. And then a song by Gorilla Biscuits that doesn't exist anywhere else. And Gorilla Biscuits is one of the best hardcore bands ever. And you got to have everything by Gorilla Biscuits. So I'm going to go side A. And
you're not even mentioning Breakdown.
Breakdown, I could take it or leave it. I liked it when I was a kid more than I like it now. It's okay. Like I said, I don't skip anything. It's not one of my favorite songs. But man, I end up losing Together. That's the big, and the Super Touch song. Those are the big,
and Side by Side.
Yeah, but you know what? Neither of these are my favorite side by side songs, but true, great band. So, you know, you're going to screw yourself either way, but I'm still going team side A. And besides, it's the side that doesn't have YDL on it.
Yeah. We just got to say, like, this comp is ridiculous, right? Because even though you might have your favorite songs, like I listened to this 3 times today, I didn't want to skip anything. Like, this is so good. It might be the Apex comp, you know, it's out of this world. Final thoughts on this, Dan?
Let's also bring it back to the layout. I mean, this compilation looks absolutely amazing. Just looking at it and pouring yourself over what it looks like, and the color scheme, the picture on the back, even the spinners, you know, the labels look absolutely amazing. First Press coming with that big booklet that you can pull out and look through everything. All the, you know, amazing images that were all from these things. You've got Ray stage diving 2GB, like, just it just draws you into a world that you wish you were there for these shows and to be rubbing elbows with these bands while they were putting these songs out. Like, everything about it is perfection. And even having YDL on there, having a little bit of like ignominy and like controversy and sketchiness almost like heightens the whole like explanation of a scene. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, these are the dickheads, you know? Everything about it is perfect. It's a moment in time that needs to be in everyone's record collection.
Hell yeah. Closing thoughts, Ben, on this comp.
Shout out to the cartoon basketball player on the Super Touch page in the booklet.
And so are these records. Collector's Bargain Corner.
All right, we're doing Collector's Bargain Corner. Debatable if it's a bargain, but this is for collectors, and we're going to send it to the CD aficionado of the pod, Ben Edge. What's up, Ben?
Yeah, this is our first ever Collector's Bargain Corner for a compact disc. And originally, I was frantically trying to find a Rev release on vinyl that was, you know, fairly inexpensive. And I did find one. It was Save It, the LP by Shades Apart that came out in 95, which I am a fan of. That you can find that pretty cheap. But we're keeping it Rev 1 through 10 today. And this is killing two birds with one stone because the very first compact disc released by Revelation Records was actually a split. Well, it was just two albums in one. Bold Speak Out and Youth of Today Break Down the Walls. So Rev 8 and Rev 9 on one CD. And it's very strange because it only exists as a split in the compact disc form. And there's something wrong with the way it was mastered. Jordan explains it on the Where It Went podcast. Like something went wrong. So it definitely sounds wonky. So if this is your only copy of either of these albums, I wouldn't recommend that I wouldn't recommend that this be your only version of these albums. You have to find these in separate as well. But it's just a cool thing. And you can find one on Discogs right now for $12 in the US, $4 shipping. So that's 16 total. And if you think about it, that is $8 per title because you're getting two albums in one. So that's a pretty good deal, I think. And also I predict that compact discs will go up in value within the next 5 years. And the reason for that is vinyl has surged as COVID cases have surged. I don't think that's a coincidence. People are spending more time at home and mail ordering more crap. And there's a huge backup at vinyl pressing plants. And so people are going to decide, well, I like this album. I've heard it on streaming, whatever this album is, hypothetical situation. I don't want to spend, or I can't spend 50, 60, 70 bucks to get this thing on vinyl. So I'm going to spend $10 and get it on CD because I want to have a physical representation of this album. And then, so people are going back to CDs. And so obviously hardcore kids that love collecting Rev shit. This is ground zero for CDs for Rev. I think you're going to be able to flip it in 5-6 years for at least double the amount. And if you can't do that, then you can give me a hard time on Instagram.
Stop the insanity.
Yeah, there's one on Discogs for $12. There's also two for $15. So there's a handful there. And hey, Crates Records 716 is 15, but he also says you can make him an offer, dude. So strange exchanges are okay. Make him an offer, dude. Do a trade. Who knows what Crates Records 716 is down to trade for this split.
You know what you should do is offer Crates Records 716 if he would take Anthony Quinn's undershirt as a trade.
There you go. I want to talk about the cover of this CD real quick because it's so busy, but it's so sick. You know, like it's just literally a mashup of these two like album covers. You know, it's kind of lazy in the art, but in a way it just works. I like it. What do you think about it, Dan?
It's wild. It's such a representation of, hey, we've got this new technology and it's the 1990s and we're changing the world. We're going to give them both of this. Because the way that this is laid out is very similar to the way that the mastering got botched to an extent, you know?
Just mushed it. Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
it. Just mush it, dude.
Give it that tang mush.
Yeah, the first time I ever went to Valle Guadalupe, it's like the wine country just east of Ensenada. There were these two, I guess two of the most famous winemakers in the region. They never got along. They had this feud. And after years and years of feuding, they decided to get together. Actually, let me give you the backstory. So one of the guys was like a farmer. So he learned by, knowing the grapes and knowing how to harvest and so forth. And the other guy was like on the science side, right? So he went to school. He learned about like the blending and how to do fancy things with the grapes. And they're both like super well renowned. So they get together, they want to squash the beef, and they're like, let's work on this wine together. So what do? They each made their own wine, and they just dumped them together and sold it in a bottle. Slap that $1.50 price tag on and get on with it. That's his CD. And
then Ray Capo drank the wine.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Only on tour, dude. You're allowed to drink. You're allowed to drink little wine in Europe if you're straight edge. In fact, I think you're allowed to drink 2 beers in a 24-hour span.
Another puzzling thing. Okay, great theory about straight edge, dude. Another puzzling thing about this CD is
way to go, dude.
The albums are in the wrong order. In other words, they're not chronological. Youth of Today was recorded in 86. Bold was recorded in 87, both at the same recording studio. But you get the Bold album first.
It's alphabetical, though.
That's true. It's alphabetical. Good point.
So if you want to put it in your record collection by band,
The fight lasts for hours, each ram battering the other dozens of times.
Head to head.
All right, we are going head to head. We are putting the side-by-side 7-inch, which is Revelation Records number 5, up against a Chain of Strength, True Till Death 7-inch, which is Revelation Records number 10. Ben, let's go to you.
This might be the hardest one we've ever done on head to head because I just don't have a good answer. I love both of these. This is the only release by Side by Side. Chain of Strength have 2 7-inches. So if you got rid of, if you chose Chain over, well, I guess it's not really getting rid of anything. It's just which one.
It's not one's got to go.
You're right. You're right. But I think I like the second Chain 7-inch more than the first one. And I guess if I had to rank all 3 of these records, Side by Side would be in the middle. So I'm saying Side by Side wins this contest, but the second Chain would beat Side by Side. It's just so tough because this is the Chain record that has the song True Till Death on it, which, Frosty wrote both those chords. And it's an incredible anthem for the ages. But then Side by Side, every friggin' song is an incredible anthem for the ages. And, the best dressed man on the pod would disown me if I didn't go Side by Side. And my pal Frosty is probably going to disown me for not going Chain, but, got to choose one. I mean, Living a Lie. Come on. You ate your words, drank your words, smoked your words. Now I know the truth. Alex! Does Kurt yell? Does Kurt yell Frosty? If Kurt yelled Frosty, I might go Chain, but he doesn't.
I can't live in a world without True Till Death, dude. And I can't live in a world without There Is a Difference. Those might be my 2 favorite Chain of Strength songs. And good God. It's like Bratton is drumming so good in this era, right? He sounds so good on the No for an Answer LP. He sounds so good here, and he gets even better on the next 7-inch. But those fills at the beginning of True Till Death, it's like up to this point is apex level hardcore drumming. It might get topped by the Burn 7-inch, but it's close. But that wouldn't come for another year. And can I live without Backfire? No, I can't either. But these are the hard decisions we got to make on 185 miles south. I'm going Chain of Strength, True Till Death all fucking day. California on top. What's up? Dan, what's your take?
I just gotta say, ganging up on guys is a fucking trend. The Chain of Strength 7-inch is... we use this term maybe a little bit too much, and we use it, but we don't use it willy-nilly. We just talk about shit that we absolutely love a lot. And when you talk about the True Till Death 7-inch, it is God tier. It is.
I hate that phrase so much, dude. If I ever say that, slap me.
You do say it as well.
Well, then slap me so I never say it again. Because I'm not down with whatever. Go on. Sorry.
You're not down with God?
Every single song on it.
From Dog to God, I'm alone in this world. I'm alone in this fucking world. Shout out prayers.
Bit it, Bo Rafa.
Bit it, Bo Rafa. Hell yeah.
Bit it, Bo Pokies.
Shout out Pokies. Shout out the tofu fajitas.
That's right. No mushrooms, please. Okay. Just how much? Jesus Christ. Hey, listen up. Unbelievable. True Till Death. I have it tattooed around my neck, like at the bottom of my neck. Like it means everything. There is a difference. I should have tried. I should have known, Oh my God. It's emotional. It's epic. It's strong. It's driving. Everything about it's amazing. You were only human. Like the way these lyrics are delivered are incredible. Never understand. Absolute, maybe the best bass break in any hardcore song ever. Let Down. Even adds even more when like it was a jab at the most positive man in the planet. Even more posy than Chris. 7 seconds.
Such a dick move, dude.
They're going for Kevin Seconds. And then Best of Times. It has it's melancholy, yet it's unity, and it's looking back and wishing for something better. Everything about it's incredible. And then the layout of this record, the pos tops on the front cover, the way the Chain of Strength logo is laid out at the top, the band picture on the back, the Rev Star in the corner, the green vinyl, the double X's on the B side, everything about it is incredible. And you know what? It still can't match Revelation Records number 5. Side by side, You're Only Young Once. Let's start with the cover. You've got the LL Cool J appropriations with the longest feet in America silhouettes. It's unbelievable. But then the back cover, Alex Brown looking like he's smashing through the wall of a castle and taking out the king within. He just looks so epic, jumping, big fat X's on his hand. Jules is wearing a Fred Perry, looking up at the sky, just singing with the best voice in hardcore ever. You've got the labels, very simple, black and white, side by side, but on the back, the B side is Jules in that awesome V-neck sort of soccer jersey. Amazing. Now let's get to the music. Backfire is laid out as a hardcore song, unlike almost anything else. It's its own world,
What it is, Dan, is it's they wrote a perfect hardcore intro and then are like, yeah, this would be a sick intro, but it would be even sicker? Let's put the perfect hardcore lyrics on top of it.
Yeah, you're right. And it's so ill and in your face. Everything about it, the way they punctuate each line and hit that on a few of these songs, this is the band that is the best at hitting those 1, 2, 3 parts, with the band all doing it at the same time as the vocals are. Like Ben said on Living a Lie, or like on Backfire, In Your Face, the way that those work. I love the guitar playing of Alex and Billy side by side. Like, it's just amazing. Like the tone that they have that makes it sound almost like creepy in a non-goth way, like just like a creaky door almost, like that's how when the guitar is doing the single line picking parts on some of these songs, on the intros especially. And then the B-side, Look Back, it's the most perfect like way to think about, Youth of Today is talking about all of these positive steps that you need to make, but like Side by Side's talking about like, do not waste one moment anymore, like don't fuck things up, like on My Life to Live, Look Back and stuff like that. It's all about being in the moment and making the absolute best thing that you've got. And then, there's a song about friendship, and then there's a song about standing side by side. And they are both straight edge masterpieces, both of them. But this one has Jules singing on it, and it wins.
Also, the song Look Back has one of the best endings of a hardcore song ever, which is go, 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 till the day you die.
You're
Fuck
right.
yeah.
You're right.
And when you were talking about the Chain 7-inch track by track, Dan, I wanted to interrupt and say, I changed my mind. I'm going for the Chain 7-inch, but then you talked about the side by side 7-inch, and I was like, I guess I'm going to keep my answer side by side. Like, you actually convinced me. Like, I'm like the idiot on The Simpsons who's like, yeah, or like, I'm like Homer, like, yeah, you're right. Like, whoever the last opinion you heard is like the opinion you agree with. But
and let's just talk about the front cover says side by side, you're only young once, ... And then on the back, it says, don't fuck it up. And Revelation number 5. Like, it just looks amazing.
What about those staged Chain photos? Come on.
They look great.
They're not staged. Everyone knows the fucking story. They did the show to get photos, but they are actually playing in front of an audience. Mark Holcomb from Undertow told me once that the song Best of Times reminds him of a song that would play on a highlight reel of a high school football team. At the end of the season, they create like a highlight reel for themselves, and then they, just for keepsake, I suppose. And that kind of ruined that song for me, because all I could think of is like high school kids, like high-fiving each other. My friends and I.
Well, Ben, I'll make a video of Mr. Perfect throwing the football and catching it himself to that song, and we'll bring it back and make it cool again.
Yeah. Also, can I just make a correction on my thing? Billy side by side plays bass, and Eric plays guitar, and I flubbed that because I said Billy played those leads, and it's not.
Do you think Alex on the back of the side by side 7-inch learned his lesson from the dude from Wide Awake and decided to not wear a baseball hat when he was jumping on the back cover?
I think so. Or this jump is so epic that his hat has flown so far out of frame.
That's right.
It's like up in the rafters.
Ben, closing thoughts.
My guess is Dan owns 3 pair of whatever sneaker he's wearing on the back of the side by side record. I'm going to shoot it to you, Dan, to just tell us what the make and model of that is.
It looks like a Nike Air Trainer, like, but if you look at other pictures in this era of Jules, he's wearing the Adidas Forum High, and I definitely have a pair of those in black of that era, like that I bought at a place in San Diego that's no longer there, that used to be known as a very un-PC term because it was owned by a Chinese man.
How do you special order a size 17 pre-internet?
Oh, you mean on the front cover?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have the skinniest jeans and canoes for feet.
But I could go either way. I mean, I'm standing on a fence and the wind, could blow me in either direction. But today, side by side, I don't know why.
Bedge, our token candle in the wind. All right. Well, one of my favorite Where It Went episodes was when they had a bunch of the guys from Inside Out on to talk about their experience in the band. And so we're doing a part 2 here. And we have 16 members from Inside Out. None of them actually played on the record, but they're here to talk about their experience. So thanks, guys, for coming on the podcast. And I just wanted to know, how did Inside Out start?
Whoa, guys. Can I ask a question? Who was the one that came up with the riff for No Spiritual Surrender?
Dan, okay, guys, chill, okay? Dan, you try to ask your question? Go ahead.
All right. I want to know who was the one who came up with the riff for No Spiritual Surrender. Huh?
That's really interesting. I'm just curious about the layout of the 7-inch. Who created the artwork for the 7-inch?
Oh, Jesus.
Shut the fuck up, one at a time.
Guys, come, hey. Okay, one at a time. Ben, what was your question again?
Yeah, I wanted to know about the layout of the 7-inch. Who came up with the idea for the art?
Oh, God. Jesus Christ.
You know what? We're just going to have to record another episode with other members.
Yeah, guys. Okay. Hey, Dan and Ben, I cut them. I can't do this, dude. Let's move on. All right, we're going to do a UFO for the No for an Answer You Laugh EP 7-inch, which is Revelation Records number 6. So the day before they go in to record the vocals on the 7-inch, Dan O'Mahony is abducted by a UFO. He cannot sing on the record. Who are you going to have replace him, Ben?
Pat Dubar. Because let me tell you, any band that Gavin Oglesby plays guitar in, or Joe Foster plays guitar in, or anyone in that scene, it would just be better with Pat Dubar singing than, it's like get Pat Dubar to sing for Ignite. Come on. But No for an Answer specifically would be interesting because the last song on the 7-inch is called About Face, and it's about Pat Dubar being a sellout, so he could sing about himself. That would be pretty meta. And
Bit of Bo Mark Zuckerberg.
And then bit of Bo Meta World Peace, different spelling. But Pat Dubar's got that cool high-pitched melodic voice that Dan O'Mahony definitely does not have, but I do believe his vocals would work over this classic 80s OC straight edge hardcore.
Bit about the time that Dan O'Mahony tried to argue with me on Facebook about a very non-hot political take. Dan, what's your take on this?
All right. This is really good California straight edge hardcore. I'm going for a Californian straight edge hardcore frontman that has a voice that could really do well over this. Sounds very much like the output they've done has got some similarity to this music, and his voice is really good on that and goes very well. And I think he could tackle this 7-inch really, really well. I am going with Ben Edge of Fields of Fire to sing on this 7-inch.
Skate punks. Yeah, dude. I love that.
I seriously think Ben would kill singing on this, so I'm going with Ben.
Wow, I never even thought about it.
I think Ben would be a great choice. I'm going to go with Joe from Infest because this 7-inch is a low-key rager. Sometimes like Casey Jones just gets on a hot one and lets it blaze. And like, so imagine like hearing like Without a Reason with like Joe from Infest. It would be so ill and so brutal, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know. I think it'd be super sick. And I just want to talk about the 7-inch a little bit. It doesn't get talked too much. It totally stands up. It's a great listen, and I love this band. I love the LP even more. You got Chris Bratton drumming on the LP, and it comes out the gate. It's like, oh my God, this is Bratton. But the drums on this is great as well. It's Casey Jones, he goes on, he plays in like that core Ignite lineup, you know, from the beginning through, I think he plays through Past Our Means. And yeah, super rad. Ben, what's your take on the 7-inch?
I like it. It's almost like, I think the No for an Answer LP, A Thought Crusade, which comes out a year after this, is more uniform choicey. Like there's a little bit more musicality to it. Like this 7-inch is like, I think Joe from Infest is a good choice because it's like, it's closer to Infest maybe than even it is to Uniform Choice. It's just, you know, like that scissor beats, right? Is technically he's playing scissor beats. Yeah. And, I don't like a lot of hardcore does that, you know, the, Unity 7-inch does that, which is very good. And this does it. And, I don't know, there's something about how it's done, how they keep the songs short and concise and simple, and they do change up the rhythms on a lot of the songs as well. It's just a good, fast, fun listen. And that cover art, wow, it just screams straight edge, and it also screams Discord. I love it.
It screams early 80s straight edge because it's like straight edge punk.
Yeah.
That's what's so sick. Yeah, they do change the tempos, and also what holds it together, I think, is Dan O can write a vocal hook, right? Like it's strange because usually when music is wild and crazy, the singing is also wild and crazy, and it's almost like his singing and his vocal patterns, they kind of hold everything together. Because in some of this stuff, I think Dan O goes on to be a great singer. I love the 411 LP, but this is like very rudimentary. He's following like the guitar riff on a lot of the parts. And I think that kind of holds it together because his voice is like another instrument and another like rudimentary instrument that like keeps it from sounding like it's too wild and it's falling apart.
Yeah. If it was, you know, the singer of Nausea or someone like just barking, it might kind of be a little bit too generic, and his voice does have personality. Even though not as much as Pat Dubar, Bedge, and Joe Infest. High five, fellas.
One thing I'll say about the 7-inch, I'm going to say a few things about it. One, this is a straight edge hardcore record that is intellectually thinking about what being straight edge is. Like, there's a lot more layer to, it's not just, you know, it's as simple as not drinking, not smoking, not doing drugs, you know, etc. There's like thoughts about linking the reasons behind not drinking, and, you know, it's going back to the original Minor Threat light stuff, whereas lots of stuff that came after Minor Threat would talk about straight edge, and not, you know, go further. This goes a little bit further, and I think that's really cool. The layout, it's just so funny that it's like, I'm going to photocopy my face. I'm going to photocopy my tattoo, and like those make it into the layout, and it's so cool. And the recording is great, and the way it looks is great. Like the whole layout as a whole is awesome. I think it is awesome because early Rev, is mainly East Coast with the 2 dots of West Coast in there that are really do the job. Like from 1 to 10, Chain and No for an Answer really show the West Coast has it as well,
All right. Well, this was a fun podcast, and just want to shout out to the Where It Went podcast. It's such an ambitious project to take on a record label like Revelation, which does so much of our favorite stuff, and go through the catalog. They've done such a good job with it. So check out the Where It Went podcast. It's available wherever you listen to this podcast. And shout out to Revelation, dude. One of the greatest record labels of all time. And also shout out to Drain, dude, who's straight living that California hardcore dream. LP on Rev, and then gonna do an LP on Epitaph. I am so stoked for that band. I hope they become the biggest band in the world. Dan, closing thoughts on Revelation Records and this episode.
Yeah, it's really fun to talk about this stuff, and to, pick out the 1 through 10 and just really like zone in on it, because this is like absolutely brilliant. This has made my life so much better. This record label has made my life so much better in many ways. I love talking about this stuff. I love the way all this stuff looks. I love the way it sounds. I love the thought. I love the stories behind the bands. I love learning more about this as, we have a chance to, listen to Where It Went and hear like the actual people who made this art talk about it, when those guys interview them. I really absolutely think this is going to be one of those things that goes down in history as, top of the mountaintop when you start looking at hardcore. So I love doing this, and I just want to say, a little while back we lost Ronnie Spector of the Ronettes, and I want to say rest in peace. You'll always be my baby.
Bedge, closing thoughts on Revelation Records.
One of the 2 twin towers of classic hardcore labels, the other one being Discord, just meant so much to me growing up listening to these records. A little bit after they came out. And then I, finally played catch up sometime in the mid 90s and was completely on it with the new releases. And I ride hard for the 1 through 10, or it's probably more like 1 through 15 or 16, like dyed in the wool, straight edge hardcore records. But I also love what the Where It Went podcast refers to as the college years, which would probably be, I don't know, Rev 16 or 17 to Rev, whenever you want to make the cutoff. But I take the ride. I'm with it. I don't fall off with the evolution of, a lot of these first generation bands breaking up, starting new bands that sound less like, standard hardcore music, and there's an emotional depth to a lot of those bands. But if you want to jump off something really high and point your finger in the air with your hooded sweatshirt up, with your X'd up hands, you got to go with these early records. They're incredible. And I want to close with a thought that I kind of wish the band No for an Answer stylized their name X, No, X, for X, and X answer X. So maybe that can happen at some point.
X, no, X, you, X, don't, X.
We know it's all leading to one thing, dude, and that's Rev 22, the Burn 7-inch, the apex of hardcore. Don't get at me. Mike Cheese. What's up? Hey, guys, side A, side B, Ray and Porcel 7-inch.
Broken Glass.
Oh, split already, so I'll break it. Dude, the lead on Broken Glass is so good. It's got to be the one, right? But Fame is a better song. But that lead on Broken Glass, God, I can't decide.
The drumming on both sides is amazing.
Dude, you know that guy got hired for the Turnstile record.
Yeah. His name's Roland.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, do you guys have a favorite 90s Rev record?
You go first, Dan.
Past Our Means, probably.
Yeah, that's what's up. Ben, tell us why we're wrong.
I won't tell you why you're wrong, because I think that's a very good record and a very good pick. For me, God, that's really tough, because I love Into Another and I love Far Side, and I love Sensefield, and there's like 3 or 4 or 5 other bands that I haven't named yet that I love, but that Burn 7-inch did technically come out in the 90s, so that might be it.
1990, yeah. So start of the 90s. I guess you're right. That's fair.
Into Another, Ignorous. If you're not counting the full on hardcore shit, I'd say the second Into Another LP. That would be my answer.
I also really like US Songs by Elliot. And
Very
of course,
good record.
The In My Eyes. 1-2 punch.
Head to head. First or second in my eyes, though.
Second.
Yeah, dude. Second in my eyes is the shit. What's up, everyone? I hope you had fun. This was really fun. It was so cool to do a podcast where we didn't have to do a lot of homework. This is straight up in our blood. I love this stuff. And we'll talk to you again next Monday.